Alright, I'd just like everyone to know that I'm not nearly as drunk as I was for the last session, which quite frankly is bullshit and I don't know why I did that. Really, I'm going into Chapter 3 and all I have to deal with the monotony here is, at most, a taken off edge. I clearly did not think this through. So here we get a bit of a history of Macedon. Back in the day, they were all just a bunch of slaves working for dragons, until one guy was like, nah, and then they fought their way to freedom, and apparently enslaved the Wyverns instead. Which, you know, bad in the first place, but like, I feel like the Wyverns are the least likely to antagonize anyone like that, at least in an orderly fashion. Also, is it just me, or does that little metal plate they're wearing not have eye holes? Like, is that a shadow or an eye hole? Because, if they can't actually see, that's kind of horrible. Jagan, no, don't encourage this, no! So this is another check that Iris can pass no problem. But anyway, Jagan, please don't encourage someone to not sleep. No, please, train and sleep. I know, pot calling the kettle black, but please, sleep well, Iris. You're my OC, I'm concerned for you. Strength and skill temporarily increased, that's good, because I'll of course be using him. I won't be using Drog ever again, especially not for this chapter. I will be using you, however. That should be obvious. And I didn't know you and Iris were competing, but okay, experience. Alright, so who do we have to talk to today? Oh, alright, we're just moving into the recap. Perhaps, and let me know if I'm going too far with this, perhaps Arcania is in danger. Well, I don't know, maybe he's just fucking up. Haven't we all had one of those days where we fucked up and put a murderer into a high power position? No, just Harden? Oh, dang, buddy. Sucks for you. Alright, so, the map. Okay, so, as you can see here, this is a pretty damn big map, with one village at the top right, which of course is a hard position to get to. We have the leader of the rebels here, it's Rucke, and he's got a weird item on him, which is going to drop after he dies, and weird, I thought there was a cavalier here, but there's nobody. Anyway, here's some Draco Knights over here. One's got a Master Seal, which is pretty cool. I mean, I guess it's 3, but 2 of them are easy to access. Oh no, they were just acquaintances. We met at a tavern once and we really hit it off, but then we went our separate ways. Ha! I almost killed Julian because he kept saying he was a thief. Man, he really should have gotten used to saying he was an ex-thief a lot faster. Would have helped him get punched less. I love how Marth's reaction is, "Oh right, Mathis. Oh yeah, Mathis." I mean, I'd like to fight him, but I guess I do recruit everyone I can, don't I? Anyway, let's get this chapter started, cause we got a lot of ground to cover, quite literally. Oh, but hey, at least Paula's here. Oh, what a terrible coincidence. You know, usually when Marth tells us about someone, we recruit them, but Lena's gone. Oh no, they're taking away our healers. That's actually a really good strategy. I bet it won't be more convoluted than that. It'd be ridiculous. Anyway, Julian's gonna go to that village. And we're going to start off by talking about Paula. Here she is. So, unlike in Shadow Dragon, we don't have to worry about Linde being at a low level, because, you know, it's more fitting that she's at a low level. Linde mainly relies on her skill, speed, and luck. In fact, her magic is so-so. It's a little under 50%, and it actually gets worse upon promotion, which is odd. That being said, though, of course she has Aura to make up for that low strength. As I've previously mentioned, Aura is an incredibly powerful magic that can be used only by women, but Linde is able to use it immediately, whereas most other characters have to wait until they're at least rank B with tomes. Aura has a durability of 25, which definitely isn't going to last you very long if you overuse Aura. This isn't the only copy of this tome you get in the game, but you don't get a backup of it until much later. So while it is useful for making up for Linde's low magic growth, if you overuse it at this point, you're gonna be in a little bit of trouble. That being said, the other thing Linde can rely on is the fact that nobody ever really has resistance in these games, so you know, even if her magic doesn't turn out the best, she'll still do a lot of damage, and thanks to her high speed, at the very least she should double up pretty much anything that moves. Paula's not actually your typical Pegasus Knight. While her strength isn't perfect, she does have one of the higher strength growth rates of the Pegasus Knights. She also has quite a bit of skill as well, so she's a very powerful unit that can also land quite a few critical hits. And not only that, she starts out with a lance rank of B despite only being level 10, meaning she can already use silver lances, which is really damn good. That being said, her speed and luck growth rates are pretty terrible, and while her luck base stat is okay but in the long run won't be amazing, she starts with a speed of 16. A 16 in speed means that she should still outspeed enemies at this point in the game, and even if she doesn't get very lucky with the RNG, that 16 speed should cover her for the most part, especially if you factor in promotional gains. Paula's a fantastic early game unit, and she's not half bad later on either. Of course, if you're looking for your more typical Pegasus Knights, you'd probably be better off looking towards Katya or Seda. While that speed is nice now, in the long run it probably isn't going to match theirs. Alright, well, I talked about her, I'm sure. Oh, and Linde. I know past me covered her as well, but, you know, or, well, future me, actually. Whatever. Terminology. Alright, so, this chapter fucking sucks. I was wishy-washy on it in my first LP of this. It's like, oh, well, you know, it's not the best chapter. Now, this chapter fucking sucks. It's boring. You see how big it is, right? Big and sparse? Trust me, it really doesn't get any less sparse. At the beginning, you want to avoid that ballista. Ballista are long-ranged units. However, that one doesn't actually launch arrows. Oftentimes, ballistae are actually units that can be effective against flyers. They can be, however, they need a specific weapon called the Aerospates. I believe that has a... oh fuck, what are the rock ones called? Well, we'll see it later, or earlier. You might have paid attention to it, I don't know. But anyway, yeah, the rock-throwing ones are very inaccurate, but fairly powerful, meaning they are a good one to be introduced to. Alright, so, over here, this village actually wasn't in the original Mystery of the Emblem. However, you did get this item from the next village that we're going to go to, which is the one to our left. So this is a bridge key. If you're not going to use it here, which you probably shouldn't, there's no other place to use it in the game, at least to my knowledge. I haven't seen any other bridges. I would also imagine that bridges can be opened by a thief, which, we'll get to a thief character soon, but yeah, this bridge right here is the only one in the game, and I'm not going to take it. Reason being, if we go that way, we get jumped by a whole lot of units long before we're actually ready for them, and while I don't want to save Mathis, if you do, you have to go to the village and recruit Julian first, because he's the only one who can recruit Mathis, so basically if you take the bridge path, you do have to kill off a character. Again, it's Mathis, so it's not like I care that much, but, I don't like killing people if they're technically allies, so gotta save them. And in addition, that's not a good choke point either. Oh hey, it's another Draco Knight. Oh, hi, how's it going, McCallus? Yeah, this would be more of a surprise, but we did already see he survived. This is one of the reasons I didn't really care that much about playing that DLC chapter so early, because the game doesn't wait that long before showing that McCallus was alive in the main game. Also, I love how Rucke's like, McCallus, but you died! And McCallus's answer is just, nah. Death? Nah. It was mildly annoying. Disagreed, bring her out. Wait, I don't want her to go to McCallus either, but... well, I guess it's better than Mr. Extreme Veins here. That ungainly appearance of some dirt on your face. Hey, yeah, McCallus, you killed your own father and you hired, like, 90% of the shitty generals, so I don't think you're one to talk. Unfortunately, we don't hear much from Minerva. And they're gone, so yeah, looks like we're not really going to be accomplishing much here outside of, ending a rebellion. But poor Paula, she was so close to Minerva, but now, she gets taken away. Anyway, the thief is the biggest issue here. Make sure to place Paula on the village, and kill the thief. Once that's done, well, those guys spawn so you can't immediately go to a fortress, but yeah, take care of them ASAP so Paula can heal. She's got a vulnerary, but that won't last her forever. Especially on higher modes, I'd imagine. Anyway, though, yeah, simple strategy for defending the village. Just have Paula do all the work. If you really need it, she does have a silver spear. And, of course, Paula's pretty freaking good. Ugh, she is taking a lot of damage, because, despite being a Pegasus Knight, she's still going to take a lot of hits, which isn't good. Thankfully, though, there's only one wave of enemies, so now we can heal, and of course, Cavaliers don't particularly like destroying villages. Anyway, though, I suppose I can talk about the chapter a little bit. It's really boring. In order to do this properly and recruit everybody, you do have to take the long way around. Of course, later on, one of the earlier villagers mentioned how, apparently the shop's in league with the rebels, which... no? I don't know why he says that, but that's not something you have to worry about. The Draco Knights hanging out in the mountains over here won't actually aggro on you, unless, of course, you attack them first. Though, apparently they also move on Lunatic, so there's also something to consider. Once you move into their range, they will attack, so if you're playing Lunatic, make sure you have some proper characters, actually enter their range, and then back that up with Orion to the face. Alright, so, this village over here, which used to house a bridge key, is now home to Board, the good axe fighter. It's my boy Board. That would probably be wordplay if it was Boyd, but no, it's Board. It's Board instead of Boyd. It's not your Boyd, it's your Board. That's pretty much all I got, I'm sorry. I'll see myself out. Alright, future me, Board, talk about him. Where Cord was all about that speed and luck, Board's thing is hitting things. He's very good at hitting things. With a high strength and skill, he's gonna be hitting things very well. And of course, he's got some good HP, which ensures that he can soak up quite a few hits. And by good HP, I mean 100%, so he's guaranteed HP. Board's biggest problem is, of course, his speed. His speed is incredibly low, and his base speed really doesn't do anything to back that up. His base luck is also terrible, so provided he doesn't kill things first, he is the most likely person in the room to get hit by a critical attack. Now, in case you're not about that, one of Board's better reclass options is probably Pirates. It allows him to keep on using axes, and it doesn't sacrifice any of his HP. It does sacrifice a bit of his strength and skill to bring his speed and luck a bit higher up, so at that point you're basically playing a coin flip character. Whether you class change or not, though, Board is typically a character who's going to need some good weapons to make up for his shortcomings. Like, for example, a hammer. 'Cause I mean, sure, he may not double those knights, but if he's got an effective weapon, what are they gonna do about it? Nothing, that's what. Alright, so yeah, Board. I hear a lot of people say that Board's a bad unit. Log off, you cowards. I will never not use Board. I refuse, he's the best axe fighter. Not out of technicality, but in my heart. Anyway, yeah, we have Board, which is pretty good. I'm glad we got my Board back, but yeah, this chapter's really frickin' boring, and I'm probably going to be skipping most of it. That being said, one thing I do need to note is the fact that we actually have something exclusive to New Mystery of the Emblem coming up, and that is the first Gaiden chapter. Now, the nice thing about Gaiden chapters in this game is, no longer are they unlocked by murdering people. In Shadow Dragon, you had to have a total number of units less than a certain number. I think you had to have less than 12 throughout the entire game in order to unlock the Gaiden chapters. I'm sure I ranted about that aplenty in Shadow Dragon, so I'm just going to say they improved it here. There are two different goals you can use to get into a Gaiden chapter. You do not need to fill them both, it's one or the other. Every Gaiden chapter has an unlock based on the number of turns you take to complete a chapter, which generally each Gaiden chapter follows up a really long chapter, like this long, boring chapter in which nothing happens. Now, the nice thing is the number of turns required to get the Gaiden chapter actually rise the higher a difficulty you take rather than lower, so while the game does get harder on higher difficulties, of course, they are a little lenient in that respect. They do give you more time to get to the end. In this case, it normally takes 24 turns or less in normal mode to unlock the Gaiden chapter, 28 on hard, 35 on Maniac, and 38 on Lunatic. Now, the alternative unlock for the Gaiden chapters is the one that I usually find a bit easier, usually, and it actually varies from chapter to chapter. So, in order to unlock the Gaiden chapter with the other requirements, you need to have lost no more than one character in the prologue. You can have one character retreat, and that's fine, but any more than that, and you'll have to use the time unlock to get the next Gaiden chapter. So, yeah. Needless to say, this one's really long and boring, so we're not going to be unlocking it with that, but of course, we've already unlocked the Gaiden chapter because we didn't lose anyone. Now, over here, I definitely want to kill these guys because, you know, they wouldn't aggro on us normally, but one drops a Silver Lance and the other drops a Master Seal. Now, Master Seals are really good because they promote units. Yeah, really, we have one of those this early on. So yeah, make sure to take care of this guy to get a Master Seal. Now, you're probably not going to use it on any of your units this early, except maybe Paula, but I wouldn't suggest it. And wow, we're already here? Okay, I might not actually have to cut out any video then. I actually talked on, but anyway, yeah, you're probably not going to use that Master Seal for a while, but hey, when you do need it, you can use it. Now, I haven't mentioned it just yet, but You can actually promote from level 10 onwards. However, in most Fire Emblem games, that's not really something most people would suggest. Generally, you want to wait until level 20, which is the max level for both unpromoted and promoted units, with the exception of Lords, Thieves, and another class that I don't want to mention. Actually, two more classes that I don't want to mention. Any unit that can't promote will actually go to level 30. So Marth, while he can't promote, which is boring as fuck, can at least promote to level 30. Anyway, I haven't really been talking much about Julian, who we're talking to right now, but I'm going to talk about him stat-wise. While Julian might not be able to promote, he's got some really great growth rates to back him up. Despite being a thief, which in most games isn't really amazing across the board, Julian just is. He only has 3 stats below 50%, and honestly none of them are stats he needs. Magic obviously he doesn't need. His defense, despite being below 50, is still pretty good for a thief, and resistance, well, I think you know the story of that by now. Seriously, across the board, he's just really good. His biggest problem, however, is his starting sword rank. He has an E in swords, meaning he's stuck to iron weapons, which, considering his base strength, aren't really going to be doing him much justice. He's really going to be struggling to actually do some damage for quite a while. He'll generally turn out very well in the long run if you train him. The problem is, training him in the first place can be a bit of a pain. Worse off, he's a thief, meaning you're generally going to have him off of the front lines, and instead you're going to be directing him towards treasure chests, which might be guarded, but there's usually not much experience to be had, either because you're not going to be killing much of anything, or you're going to need a support character to come in and kill something for him. Either way though, the game kind of distracts you from training Julian. If you want to use him in the long run, you have to make sure to grab those treasures fast, and then get right back to the action. Otherwise, you might find that Julian starts to slip and fall behind if you leave him inactive for too long. Alright, that's been done. So yeah, it's nice to have Julian back. I do kinda like him as a character. He's not one of my favorites, but he's okay. He almost has a personality. But hey, now that we're at the point where we recruited Julian, we can actually get back to doing something in this chapter. Isn't that nice? I didn't even comment on that kind of weird old man living in the house up there who talks about the triangle attack for some reason, with some really weird wording. I find that man rather dodgy, but what are you gonna do? His dialogue's been written and I can do nothing about him. Anyway, though, the Draco Knights, of course, are fairly tough as per usual, especially for Julian, who, you know, at the beginning, is not that good. But, oh my god, Ryan is going to destroy that Wyvern Rider, and get a really good level up off that. Like, I mean, strength would have been nice, but his strength's already pretty good, so who needs to worry about that? Alright, so this didn't work out too well. Was kind of hoping Julian would get a crit there, but, you know, didn't, because why would he? That would help or something. Anyway, though, yeah, this part's super simple. It's just a matter of luring out the Wyvern Riders without drawing too many over. And I'm certainly not looking up the Lunatic chapter now, because why would I do that? I'm prepared. No, trust me, I have everything else I need, just, you know, not this. Oof, jeez. Yeah, these guys have some pretty good defense, and also I keep trying to attack them with units that, quite frankly, don't have that much strength. Though, to be fair, Wyvern Riders don't normally have good resistance, and they're not taking that much damage from Linde. Of course, Linde is still early on, so she's not the best mage. She's also her only mage. So, you know, if you want magic damage, gotta use Linde. In due time, however, she will destroy things. Okay, so there are 2 more Wyvern Riders who are ahead of the Wyvern Riders we fought in this mode. So if you're playing Lunatic, I guess pay attention to those guys. Doesn't seem like that adds too much difficulty unless they aggro early, but whatever. Alright, so, Mathis has got a Javelin, meaning we don't really have to worry about accidentally killing him normally. I do remember accidentally killing him, but that's probably because there's been a moment where his AI's been very dumb. Because I'm pretty sure I've had a moment in which, like, Julian has just crit him. And as amusing as that is, unfortunately I can never keep that because he is recruitable. I mean, look, I don't want to save his dumb life, but I'm obligated to because, you know, video games. Anyway, as I said before, that one dude who said that the weapon shop was in league with the rebels, I don't know what that dialogue is alluding to. Is it talking about how there's... Is it talking about, like, how it overlaps with enemy range? Because that should be obvious. I don't think any of this stuff is more expensive than normal, but I don't know, I could be wrong. I don't really pay attention to weapon price normally, so maybe it's more expensive? It doesn't cause anything to spawn, and of course nothing spawns on top of it because, you know, it's a weapon shop. They didn't make a special spawn for it, so I legitimately do not know what that dude was talking about. Sells mostly steel weapons, so it's pretty good if you want those, and considering I just use those on Cecil, I do. I do want to use those. A whole lot. Alright, so the forest is the best place to go to draw out Mathis, because, you know, it raises your evasion rates, and you don't want the idiot killing you, and it's called the Stone Hoist. Okay, cool, that answers my question from way earlier. Good. So yeah, stone hoists are very powerful but very inaccurate, meaning they are kinda dangerous early on, but also maybe not sometimes. Yeah, that's great, Mathis. Remember when you shoved your face in danger last time, and also could possibly shove your lance at your own sister? Anyway, Mathis is the guy who sucks. Let's just fucking get his dumb conversation over with. I mean, he's using a javelin, but whatever. Now, this is the content I come here for. Hey, Mathis, you're a dumbass, and your sister hates you. That's not even paraphrasing at that point, but oh dear... Ooh! Oh god, Mathis, you're worse than before! God, you were obnoxious in Shadow Dragon, but now you're just creepy about your own sister. Ugh. Ugh. Mathis, you frickin' weirdo! I hate you! I mean, maybe he also couldn't come with us, Julian? I guess we shouldn't murder Lena's brother, but... That's probably something that just does not translate well in English, but whatever, here's Mathis talk about him, future me. And so, after a chapter where we got a million good units, we end off with this weirdo. It's Mathis. You have Cavaliers. They're better than Mathis. Have they all died? Reclass somebody else into a Cavalier. They'd do a better job. Apparently he reclasses into a Knight pretty well, which I guess makes sense considering his HP and defense are pretty good, and he is our second Lance-implied Cavalier, and he is not nearly as worth using as Rhodey, but again, it's Mathis. Why would you use Mathis? Look at him. Just look at him. I'm sure that bio is like 10 seconds long, but whatever. Anyway. Mathis, you just fucking ride off into the distance so we never have to look at your dumb face again. Anyway, yeah, that's Mathis. He's one of the characters I hate more than Luke, but also, We don't have to endure him for 7 fucking chapters. It's just this one, so... I mean, I'm not gonna dunk on him that much. I'm just gonna be creeped out by him and calling his sister cute little Lena. Ugh. Again, that's probably something that just translates in a really weird fashion, but I don't care. It's creepy and weird, and I hate him. More so than usual. Alright, so, Ballistae also has some pretty good defense on them. Of course, then again, Pegasus Knights aren't exactly known for their attack, but whatever, I'm gonna fucking bolt this one. Smite that there, Ballista, and we'll call it a day. Alright, so, at this point we're pretty much just surrounding this guy. Of course, he does have a way to attack indirectly, though to be fair, you might actually want to bait him into using that if you want anyone to attack him close quarters, because, it's probably better to attack him with a javelin than it is a steel lance. Yeah, that's great. Like, even if I were to allow someone to die, do you really think you could take everyone in the army? I really don't think you could. Honestly, the only thing Rucke is good at is not being hit by a hammer, but, like, that's because board skill early on is pretty low, so he might miss with a hammer. That's more on him than it is Rucke. You will never find true happiness. What you gonna do, cry about it? The stars predict tomorrow you'll wake up, do a bunch of stuff, and then go back to sleep. Alright, and that's it for the rebellion. Kind of unfair that that took 2 chapters to stop, when the one by Lorenz, the guy we like, only took 1. This is so unfair. Oh great, here comes a really rude boy. Oh, Lang, you and your awful manners. By the way, how many villages did you burn on your way here? Oh, do we need to destroy another rebellion, Lang? Is that it? Do we have to stop another insurrection that's probably actually good? I mean, this one wasn't, but the other one was good. Words. I don't appreciate you or your payroll. Also, here we go with the rudeness again. We implied you'd kill children, but damn, you're rude. I apologize on your behalf. I apologize that you're a dick. Ba-ba-ba-bwah. Am I doing that right, Iris? I don't know. What does an air horn sound like? This is A, medieval fantasy, and B, it's me, Marth. I wouldn't know what an air horn is, even if it did exist. Oh yeah, go tell your boss on us. I'm so scared. What's he gonna do? Use his mighty army to strike back? And here comes Jagan. 1v1 me, bitch! I'll kick your ass! I don't give a fuck about my low stats, I'll kill you. I'll fucking dunk you in a trash can, Lang. Oh my god, I want to watch Jagan kick Lang's ass, please. And then Lang fucking runs for his life. I can't believe Jagan scared him off, it's amazing. I mean, what else were we going to do? Get some children killed? Oh, I'm pretty uncomfortable with that. I don't want to send children to Lang. Oh, he just burns all the villages in Grust. He's probably gonna kill the royal children? Yeah, I'd love to do that. Totally. A+ weekend right there. I mean, for like a year. I don't know if that really counts. It was a temporary guardianship. Just a year-long program before they got kidnapped by a horrible killer. Hey, what do you know? A good conclusion. I'm glad we reached that point within a sentence. I mean, you never know.